Hello, Keep the Passion listeners. Welcome back to another episode. If you haven't listened to us before, thank you for tuning in. Keep the Passion is all about staying positive and passionate throughout the ups and downs of your 20s and just through life in general. And we just bring up a various amount of topics from relationships to career, goals, mindset, everything that kind of has to do with, staying inspired throughout life. So, and if you have listened to us before, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. So, today we have a guest. This is Jordan Campbell. She is a confidence coach, and specifically, she kind of gears that towards, careers and pivoting. So, Jordan, would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes. So I am, like she said, I'm a career and confidence coach, and I work with, I like to break it up into two. So I work with mindset and I work with the technical. So the technical, I'll start with the technical. The technical is everything shiny we all know and love, the resumes, the interview, the salary negotiation, all that stuff, all that career growth and development.
Mm-hmm.
That's my jam. But I also work in the mindset, and I don't know if you guys have heard it called this, but it's called like the woo woo, and it's the inner part. It's the changing and busting through limiting beliefs and making
Yes.
sure that yes, I can apply for that $10,000 increased job or 20
Mm-hmm.
or 30,000 because I know I can. So the mindset piece plays a part with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I
Definitely.
do both mindset and technical. I work with corporate professionals who just want to pivot into new industries, and that takes a bit of a twist when you actually get to it.
Mm-hmm. I think at first when you said woo woo, I was like, oh, I don't know. But then when you got into it, I was like, okay, yeah, I've heard of that. It's kind of like the spiritual side of things. Some people are like, that's just a bunch of woo woo.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to have you on today. Um, I want you to start with kind of explaining your own journey of pivoting in your career. Kind of, what inspired it, kind of how it's kind of changed your attitude, from your attitude throughout life and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I would have to start with, I'm sure, since you guys talk a lot about your 20s, whether it be your early or mid late 20s. So I would
Mm-hmm.
probably start back when I was in college, and I was doing my degree in criminal justice. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do,
Yeah.
like everybody else in the world. And
Yeah, a
I
lot
was
of us
just
end up like
like,
that.
ooh, Law and Order, that sounds cool. So, so that, and I had, like my parents were both in law enforcement or military. And so I was just like, and they both dealt with law. So I was like, okay, I like this. So I got that. I got into that. And then around junior year, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I have no idea. So I'm sure, like everyone else, I had to go out and soul search, and I actually ended up getting an internship with the Department of Justice. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I went through the internship, and I was like, okay, I can do this, right? Because once you start doing things, you're like, okay, I'm a little confident now. I know what I'm doing. So I went through the internship. It was during the summer, and then it was again when I went back for my senior year. And in my senior year, I graduated May of, and I'm going to date myself. I graduated May of 2016 in the beginning of May, and I got my job. And I started at the end of May 2016. So I didn't get the, backpacking in Europe for a year. I didn't get the like 2 months. I didn't get the summer. I literally was just like, they were like, you want a job? And I was like, yeah. They're like, just start on Monday. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, that's great though, because I mean, some of us don't get the experience of getting a job that soon after either.
That's true. The internship really helped. So I started in operations, and I started in just basically operations at that level is literally just like you are the catch-all. You do a little bit of everything. So I was like answering phones. I was like running down information. I was doing a little analytical things, and it was just a lot, but I learned a lot. After about like 2-ish years, I was just like, this is great, but like there's gotta be something else out here. Because as millennials, or as I guess it'll be millennials, you're just like, you got that little, sometimes you got that Gen Z bug where you want to jump around everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, this is great, this is good, this is a good old government job, but like what else can I do? And so I pivoted from operations into, I'll call it cyber admin support. And I had no background in it. I was like, turn a computer on and off. That's me. Right. And I was like, the opportunity came up, and I was like, I can't pass it up. I'm going to put in for it. I applied for it. I was interviewed. I must have done well because I got the job. And so I did cyber admin support for about 2.5 years. And then again, I was like, there's got to be something else.
Yeah.
There's got to be something else.
You just get that itch. You're like,
I know. Like,
I need something.
And so I had seen and kind of participated in like HR things, recruiting, talent acquisition. And I had seen that in my own org. And I was like, I'm gonna try that. And so I actually was like, I got a little bit of experience from that, because that was moving up the ladder even more. So I had to get a little bit of experience doing that. And then I applied for one position. And when I tell you guys, I thought I did so well. I was like, I aced it. I'm so good. And they were like, yeah, no, thank you. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I was like, perfect. But obviously that wasn't for me. You know, what's for you is for you. And so I just waited a little bit longer, and they actually had another position open that I ended up getting, that was in recruiting and applicants. And that one turned out to be way more my speed than the first one that I thought was perfect. And so now at this point, I've pivoted like 3 different times, and I found in recruiting and HR and that thing, that's why I found kind of like my passion. And now I'm kind of just like sitting pretty, and I'm like, this is great. I like it. And that's long story short, that's how I pivoted.
Okay.
I like that.
Well, how did you first of all, we've definitely had that same experience in college. Like, I know I started out just kind of not knowing what I wanted to do, and I finally picked a major of economics. But I more so picked it because that's where most of my classes kind of had gathered themselves. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'm going to do economics. I do enjoy it. It's interesting. But I definitely also had like my parents in my ear of like telling me other things that they think I should do. And like you said, it's kind of like, you know, my parents were in this kind of career path. It would just be fitting for me to also join in that path.
And you had that government job.
Yeah.
I feel like in our
culture.
Yeah, in our culture, like that government job is like, okay,
that stability.
That's like the
that's the end of the highest thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the end all be all. Like, get that and you're gonna be set for life, right?
Yeah, because that's what it is. I think as a community, as people who are just now kind of starting to get something for themselves, you just crave stability. That's a stable job. That's really good.
So how was that like? Were your parents like what did they think about you switching out of that? You know.
So I haven't switched out of it. So I'm one of the few people that are like, I guess
just kind of moved around to different departments in there.
Yeah, I moved around into different departments.
Got it.
So, first of all, it was actually my mother initially, because when because you guys started talking about culture, right? So a lot of times we'll be like, I want it, but I don't think I'm gonna get it, so I'm not gonna put in for it. And that was me. I was like, I'm not gonna get it. Why are they gonna pick me, right?
Mm-hmm,
and then my mother was like, "Girl, if you don't go ahead and put in for it,
Yeah.
and I was
what's
like,
the worst that could happen?
Right. And
I
so
know
she
it's the
was
worst.
yeah, she was the one that I ended up listening to, and for good, and it all worked out. So, but it's actually really interesting, because if that type of person you are, where you just want to like stick to something and stick it out, then it's cool. But if you kind of want to bounce around, you have to play your own adventure game. So you really have to do the digging to find different roles that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like me. Like I want to bounce around a little bit. I'm not that type of person who's like, I'm going to do this one thing for the rest of my life and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So how did you kind of like? Because you were how old at that age? Were you like 22 or something?
Yeah, I was like early 20s. Yeah.
So how did you kind of have the confidence to bounce around like that and think like, okay, I can do this even though I have no experience,
So, and it's so funny because literally a couple of years, and you're like, you look back and you're like, wow. So when I was like early 20s, it's almost like you have so much responsibility, and so you get bits and pieces of experience, and so your confidence starts to grow because you have all these bits and pieces of experience. And then one of the things that I did was I got mentors. I got people who were there to help me along the way, because I wasn't super confident. Like, I am by nature an introvert. Like, I know I probably don't seem like it, but by nature, like, put me at home with a book, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
But I had to, one, find people to be in my corner, and then two, I had to break out of my shell a bit more so that people would see me. So that's a really big thing. Like, if you're doing all this great work and no one sees it, then it's not there. It's like that thing. What is it? Like, if a tree falls in the woods, like, and no one's around to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, no, because no one's there to hear it. So you have to get a little bit out of your comfort zone, and then I think mentors are super important.
Yeah, and as an introvert, like I would call myself an introvert too. Yeah, you're always like, you like to be like kind of in the behind the scenes, you know what I mean? So you're doing all this work, but you don't really want people to kind of like focus on you. So yeah, you definitely have to just kind of put yourself out there. I think that comes like too with like, I mean, I would hope, I know for me, like with just getting older, and I would hope that a lot of people who are really in their shell get out there too as they get older. But I know, some people just kind of get comfortable. But I know for myself, I've had to like, okay, like, you cannot think like this. You have to put yourself out there. You have to go to this event and go here and talk to these people. Even though you'd rather be at home chilling, with your dog and a book. So but yeah, I thought that was interesting when I spoke to you a few weeks ago about the introvert part and how that definitely like affects your like ability to kind of progress throughout your career. Definitely. But yeah, what would you like to anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess my question would be, as someone who is more introverted, like, what I don't know, like, how do you navigate, like, I mean, you're of course you're still in the field that you started in, right? But then now you are a career and confidence coach. So how do you navigate, getting clients and kind of like showing your personality through the introvertedness to your clients and helping them to achieve,
That's true, because with what you're doing, you have to kind of get your own. You have to be your own advocate. You don't have like a boss above you to get you clients and stuff. So yeah, that's a good question. How do you reach out to people as an introvert, and what's your process like?
No, definitely. So I will say that I am an introvert, but I have, like you were saying, like when you get older, I hate to say this, but you start to care less in terms of like,
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
in terms of like, oh, I care about how people perceive me in that type of way. But I credit a few different things for the confidence boost, and then I'll kind of move to the second part of the question. But like between I went to an HBCU, right?
Okay.
Historically Black College and University, for if people don't know, if they're listening. And
Nice.
one going to college at HBCU, they keep you on your toes. So when I tell you, like, that was the beginning of the journey of like me having to, be quick with it, advocate for myself, because they were not playing.
I can imagine. I didn't go to an HBCU, but I could definitely imagine.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so that's when I really started building my confidence, and I met my husband there, and like that really, propelled. And then once I actually got into my career, it's completely different. Like yes, you have a boss, but you're still the boss of yourself. So if you're not getting something done, or if you're not asking questions, you look crazy. So I had to ask questions, get comfortable with talking to people just for the sake of my role. So that pushed it even further. Now, when it comes to the career and confidence business, I actually started this because I was like, I'm doing all this pivoting and I'm doing all these changes and I'm growing and boosting. I'm like, how can I help people out here do the same thing? And I had no idea what a career coach was before I started this, because I was just Googling on Google University, and I was like, what can I do? And I came across coaching, because I don't think a lot of people know beyond like a fitness coach, right? Like a lot of people are aware of like mindset coaches and that type of thing, maybe even life coaches. But I looked it up and I was like, okay, this is something I can do. Like I have the skills to back it up. That's an important thing. Like confidence comes internally, but also comes from having the actual skills to back it up. Like you're not just like talking the talk, you're walking the walk. And in terms of getting my own clients, you just have to put yourself out there. Like I do podcast interviews like this. I have my own YouTube channel, and I do like Instagram lives, LinkedIn. Like I had to practice. I sucked at first.
Yeah. Life is a practice.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that practicing part, because like towards the beginning of this year, like on my Instagram, I would like make a lot of videos and just go on my story and like talk, because I'm not really that comfortable in front of the camera all the time, especially because I don't know, for some reason I just don't know what to say. But like as I was doing it, like I would be like, okay, like I'm getting a little bit better at this, So yeah, you definitely have to just have to put yourself out there and keep doing it. And like, I don't know.
And it's awkward because like when you're talking to the camera, you're like, who am I talking to?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Talking to yourself.
Yeah. You got to pretend like you're talking to somebody else. It helps.
Yeah. But a lot of times too, like also like if you're saying something that like resonates with yourself too, it makes it a little bit easier. Like, you're like, for me, a lot of times I'm like talking to myself. I'm talking to other people too, but I'm talking to myself also, because I need to hear this.
And we talk to ourselves anyway, so we might as well put a camera.
There you go. Gotta get the content.
Yeah.
So tell me about because you no longer, do you just do confidence coaching now, or do you still?
I do both.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
What is your confidence coaching business called?
Boss Life in Progress.
Ooh, okay. Nice. Okay.
I like that. Do you intend on just doing confidence coaching at some point, or are you still?
I still really like my job, so unless I'm good, but unless I'm like netting like a good check from I probably won't. Because I enjoy both. And I'm still able to do both. So work-life balance, right?
They haven't interfered with each other yet.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see.
That's good.
One of them might get kicked to the curb. I don't know.
Okay, well, I want to talk about, career and passion. Because I know there's people on both sides. There's the people who say, oh, do what you love and the money will come, or, do what you're passionate about, do what makes you happy. And then there's some people who are like, no, you can't do that. You cannot work in your hobby, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's your thoughts on that? Kind of, do you think that they should align, or do you think that, that they should be kind of kept separate, or?
Right. I think personally, and everything again is everyone has an opinion, right? So I think personally, I want to do something that I enjoy doing. Am I always going to get to do that at every stage of my life? No. So I had to work years before I got to do what I actually wanted to do. And I just call those stepping stones. But I think people get it confused because we're so like, I need 6 figures yesterday. And I'm like, that would be great, but no. So, so like, for example, if you want to be a teacher, right? That profession gets a lot of flack because it's a lot of work, little pay, right? If you want to be a teacher, I say, go be a teacher, but that, let's say in California, you're probably not going to be making a quote unquote livable wage. So if you love teaching, you love the kids, you want to do that, do it, but you can do curriculum writing on the side, or you can do something else to boost your income if that's the passion that you have. And then if you find, hey, maybe teaching after a while, you're like, teaching's not for me, go up into, school administration, or go up into like the superintendent level, something like that, so that you're still in proximity to what you want to do, but you're making the money that you want to do. Same with like, I hate when people are like, you should only go to school for like STEM. No, you're paying all that money. You go to school for what you want to go to school for.
Yeah.
Like if you want to go for like liberal arts and history, you go for liberal arts and history. You're gonna find a job. Like I would rather, and this is crazy because I'm thinking, I think I would rather be making like $50K doing something I really, really enjoyed than making like $100K doing like a super techie job, because I'm not a techie person. I'm gonna go to work and hate it, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be crying in a Tesla. Like, well, I can cry in my Camry. Like, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Toyota.
Yeah. But again, something that feeds your spirit too.
Yeah.
Like the woohoo part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of like it's like if you're doing something that you hate, like it's draining the energy out of you. Like it's just you have to find the balance between those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you kind of just become a shell of yourself. You're like,
exactly.
It's like I think at one point in my life, I think I was there. I referred to myself as like a zombie. You're just kind of going about life, like kind of numb and just like
that's not living. Like,
yeah,
why do you want to live like that?
And you can do a lot. You don't have to. I know 6 figures is a thing. You can do a lot with like, depending on where you live, with like cool 80K, 70K.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you can do a lot.
Definitely.
No, yeah. If you know how to manage, yeah, definitely. Like that's. I mean, where are you? Are you in Texas? Or
no.
Where are you?
Florida.
Oh, okay. Well, Florida. Yeah, too. But here in Texas, like, I mean, hell, even like, I feel like it's like a good, what she said, like a good 80K, like that's perfect. I mean, of course, we always want more and more. We always want to be building, but like in terms of like being able to live, to get by, and especially if you have a 2-income household, like one person's like that's all that you need. So, yeah, I like that. So you're basically saying like to move up within the field of your passion, just like switching around. What you've done pretty much, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like
moving
I
around within the
jumped, but
field.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Well, I have a question about when you started in what did I know you said you went to tech and then you went to HR operations.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you why do you think that you kind of got the itch to switch? The itch to switch. I didn't find that. But yeah, why do you think you kind of got that itch to kind of switch positions and how do you know it's kind of time for you?
Yeah. So for me, I wanted to switch because at that point I'm still young. I was younger, and I was like, I need more money. To be completely honest, I was like, I want to do something else, and I need more money. And that's the mentality you're gonna have when you're, early 20s. You're just like, I need more money. But hindsight, looking back, I think it was more so I felt like I had learned at least 80% of what I really needed to know. And I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to sit here another 2 years to figure out the 20%. I can do that on the way up.
Yeah.
And so I had learned what I needed to learn, and I was starting to get a little like antsy, and that's kind of how it's kind of time to switch it up. If you get really, really good at your job, that's great, right? But if you're really, really good at your job and you start to get really bored or antsy, and everything starts looking good, then it's time to take a quick exit. Take a quick switch. Because once you get bored and complacent, you start, like you said, feeling like a zombie, right? You start feeling like, I know what I'm doing. I'm hitting the same little switches and buttons every day. I'm picking up I'm answering the same questions every day. Like that gets really like boring and tiring. And so you're like, I need to switch. And again, as you get older, you'll see like, as you go through your 20s, rather, you'll get bored and want to switch and get bored and want to switch and get bored until you get, a little bit older, and then you're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, I definitely do that. Like I get bored easily. It's exactly what you said. When you feel like you've learned all that you could learn, and then you're just kind of there like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, for me it's like I'm pretty ambitious, and I enjoy learning new things. So it's like when I get to the point where I'm like, oh, I don't want to even do this. It's the same old. Like I'm ready to do something new. I definitely get that itch. I'm like, I need to switch it up already.
Yeah. Or like if your job is like getting really stressful or something, like I feel like it's like, okay, now it's time for a switch, because this is not, I feel like sometimes we get to a point where like I don't want to say like, okay, like we don't have like the mental capacity necessary to handle something anymore. Like it's just like, this is too much at this moment in life. Like I need to take a step back or figure something else out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be like you said, stress. That could be toxic workplace. That could be like you don't like your coworkers, or like it's so many different things about when it's time. Because at the point where you're stressed out, burnt out, and tired and all that, you've gone past the point of when you probably should have switched.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know, and but it's scary though. Like how, especially like if you like let's say you're in, a great job. You get paid well. You have it's a good work. Great work environment. You have great employees. Like I feel like you could feel like, why would I change? And like people around you might even tell you like, why would you do that? Like you're set up, like, but you're feeling so stressed and you're feeling so anxious because of, your job responsibilities. Like, how do you, within all of that, like find the confidence and be like, you know what, let me go ahead and let me just release it and step away and find something else. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, yeah, like how do you know that it's really time to go? especially given like when you're in the perfect situation already. You know what I'm saying?
And you built your lifestyle around
exactly,
it.
and you built your lifestyle around it. Like, how do you find the courage to go on and step away from that? You know.
So when I teach my clients is one, we never go backwards. So if we want to pivot into an industry, we're either going into something equivalent or higher. So in terms of lifestyle, if you're applying to the equivalent or higher, you should still be good in terms of like pay and benefits and things of that nature, so that you're not like having to sacrifice, like what do they say, we eat avocado toast or whatever. You don't have to sacrifice your avocado toast.
Your pressed juice and avocado.
Your pressed juice and whatever they say that none of us eat or drink. But anyway, but in terms of like courage, one of the better times, and this is going to sound crazy, one of the better times to switch is when you are doing good, because when you switch out of burnt out stress, when you switch like that, you're switching out of like almost a desperation. And when you switch out of desperation, you're more willing to take any and everything versus I'm sitting at a good job. I like the people, but internally I'm like itching to go. Now you have your contacts at work, right? Mm-hmm. You have the mentors you've built up. You still have a job, so you're not stressing about like, I got to make ends meet while I'm looking for a job. And you're not in that like stressed, like survival mode. You're in a thriving mode. And there you can take your time and be like, I like this job, apply. I don't like this job, don't apply. Versus, I hate it here. My mental health is horrible. I'm going to hit apply on every single thing. And that doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, I like that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
I've been applying.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say I've been applying to jobs since I graduated college in 2019, but I feel like I've been in like survival mode, and I've been in that place of like desperation. So
you're just applying to every different thing that is available,
rather than like honing in and focusing on the things that you would actually want to do, and that your skills, that your skills would allow you to do. So yeah, I think that's a great tip. But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
I forgot. Sorry.
It might
come back to me.
Do you ever coach people who are not just switching jobs, but switching like maybe going into something completely different than like what their skill set would really allow them to do?
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, you bring that up. That's my specialty, right? So pivoting, career changing, that type of thing, because it takes a certain finesse, if you will, whatever style, because you don't have the quote unquote direct experience, but you do have other relevant experience, and that's going to come in the form of like soft skills like communication and leadership and that type of thing. And any hard skill that you need, you can either speak to the hard transferable skills you have, or you can, it doesn't require a degree. Like a lot of people want to get into tech, right? You don't have to go back to school and get a 4-year degree. A lot of these companies are going to take you with a 3-6 month certification in a programming language or something like that. Or sometimes, and I say sometimes, boot camps as well. They have like these tech boot camps that you can get into. But when it comes to pivoting, it has to make sense, right? So you can't go from like an office worker to a marine biologist. That doesn't make sense. But you can go from like corporate, like administrative or an executive admin into a product manager in tech. So like I like to use tech because that's the cool thing nowadays. So you can be a project manager in tech. You don't necessarily have to be a programmer or someone doing the code. You could be like in sales in tech, right? Because if you did sales over here in, let's say, you were selling cars. If you can sell a car, you can sell a piece of technology. So it's about the skills that you can articulate. And then there's a few other steps that we go through, but the skill articulation thing is the like first step to it.
Okay. And so you help people articulate those skills. I feel like that's the hardest part. Well, when you're like, one of the hardest parts when you're building your resume and thinking of answers to interview questions. It's like, what are my skills? Like, what are my, like, I feel like the soft skills is kind of hard because, you know, when we think of skills, we think of like very tangible things. I feel like I didn't even learn the term soft skills until it was like less than a year ago.
Exactly.
Soft skills, it's here. You can.
Like,
it's like
no, I was
the other skills. It's like the other skills, like what she said, communication, leadership, like the ones that are like more, I feel like character based, right? Is that accurate?
You can't measure them, like you can't quantify them with numbers. Like I can't say you increased your communication skills by 25%. Like I can't quantify.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the ones like I just learned that term like less than a year ago. It was like I was like, oh, like okay, that's interesting. So now I know what to search because I know that term. Like when I, you know, but that's good. Okay, so you help people with resume. You help them. You help do interview prep and
interview
all
prep.
That stuff.
So what I have I have a whole program, Career Goals Academy, and we go through, like I was saying, we go through the mindset piece and the technical piece. So in the technical piece, what you're talking about, resume, interview prep, I do salary negotiation, all the 9 yards. But obviously the beginning step is like I was saying, the skills assessment, figuring out what you're actually good at and how that translates into your desired field. And then I even help people figure out what field they want to go into.
I like that. That's really good. We need that.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask two questions. I was gonna ask, do you, like exactly what you said, help people figure out like what they want to get into, and then on the other side, like, have you ever coached someone who's like stepping out on their own and creating their own business, you know, their own program or whatever?
I haven't coached anyone, so I'm not a business coach. So I haven't coached anyone on that, but I've had a client who had like side hustles before and they have their own thing. What you're talking about is more so like a business coach, or sometimes like general life coaches help with that, but a business coach would be the one to help you step out and like form your LLC and like find the clients and marketing and all that stuff.
Yeah, because it's a mindset switch too, though. That's why I was like, I wonder if you would help with that, because aside from the business part, it's like, you know, if someone has been working in corporate for, you know, X many years, like 5 years, 10 years or whatever, and then they're like, you know what,
totally
I think I
mindset
can do
you
this on my own.
have to have as an entrepreneur.
You can so the closest thing that I probably would do to that, it's not that I couldn't show someone or, you know, tell someone what I've done, but it is the figuring out part, right? So you want to make a switch. Do you want to go into another 9 to 5, or do you want to start a business? Now, if you want to go to 9 to 5, I got you. If you want to go to the business, I have referrals and people that I can send you to that can help you, because again, like you said, mindset, that's a whole different beast. Like you are in charge of you. Like your boss is in charge of you at work, but no, you are in charge of you when you have your business.
Okay. I have a question about the salary negotiation. You said that you help people with that. I don't know, because there's probably so many people out there that are not getting paid what they or what they deserve, or you know, like so I have a friend who I remember telling her, like I remember she was like one of the few people in the office like during a given week. And I was like, and she had a bunch of stuff to get done. And I was like, next year when raises come, make sure you go and you negotiate for yourself. And, you know, because like you're working very hard, and she's a very good, she works really hard. So for like someone like her, because I remember telling her that, and it didn't seem like it really really resonated with her, like she was actually going to like use that as, you know, some leverage for someone who works really hard, and, you know, like I feel, you know, like they have leverage to be able to negotiate for a better salary. Maybe they're nervous, or they have no idea how to approach it, or even just down to the basics, like they're not in the kind of mindset to where they would, you know, feel like they really deserve more. Like, what would you tell that person? Like, where would you start with someone about salary negotiation?
To start, I had this really great conversation yesterday, and to start, because we were talking about it, you can't do anything. This is going to sound weird. You can't do anything that you can't visualize yourself doing. So if you don't
like
see
that.
yourself with a raise, you're not going to get one, because you're going to psych yourself out. So what she can do, I mean, she can wait until the raises, because that's probably what they're going to tell her to do anyway, because she comes. But not really knowing her personality, I would say first we have to visualize. And when I say visualize, how much of a raise do you want, right? Because $2,000 is not going to cut it. Like $5,000, that's not going to cut it. Like, how much of a raise do you want? From there, let's work backwards. So let's say you want 10. That's a good even. So $10,000 raise. So you start from there and you work your way back. So 10,000. What are the tasks that you do? What is the extra that you do? And why should you get the raise? It's not, oh, I want it, I work hard. Like, specifically, why should she get the raise? Does she do the work of more than one person? Is she excelling in, you know, the role that she's in? Is she affecting her bottom line, or whatever it is, her metrics, in a positive manner? Because you can't come to a lot of businesses with, I want to raise because I want it. You got to come to them with like the facts.
You got to give them all the details. Like, you got to have it listed out for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's a business. You know, they're operating as a business. Like, you have to talk in that way with them. It's not just, you know.
And most people's direct supervisor is not even the person that like affects their raise. So your supervisor or manager has to take that up to whoever affects, you know. So if you have it laid out clearly, now they can lay it out clearly to whoever, because it's not like your boss is, for most people, your direct boss is not signing your check.
Yeah.
I
think that what you said about, you know, being able to visualize it is important, because like we have to like have the confidence to be able to advocate for ourselves. Like, and that takes it. I think I asked for a raise one time where, like, I was at, as a baker. And I was really like nervous about it, but I was like, no, like, I need this raise and I actually deserve it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a great employee. I work hard and X, Y, and Z, but so I think the visualization part is important. The woo-woo part is important, because you definitely need a lot of confidence and, you know, self-awareness to be able to say, to finally push yourself to, you know, ask for a raise. If especially, I feel like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm generalizing, but as women, you know, you're more like, you know, trained to like accept things as, you know, as they're given to you, and not advocate for yourself as much. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about the having to, you have to believe it before it happens. Like, we talk about a lot of that stuff here on the podcast, because you know, we're all about, you know, staying passionate, motivated through everything, and constant growth, personal development. So, like, you know, we're all about like having to believe something is going to happen for you before it happens. Just with anything in life. I mean, not even just with career, but you have to believe that something's gonna actually work out for you before it even happens, way before it happens. Because otherwise you're just going to count yourself out. Like you said, that you're just going to psych yourself out, and you're not even going to It's like the energy that you put towards doing something isn't going to be the same as if you really believed it. And that shows, like, everyone else around you can see that, you know, everyone else can feel it. So yeah.
There's a business, I mean, I've learned it in business. There's a business concept called be, do, have. In order to be who you want to be, you have to do the things that person would do in order to have what they have.
Yes.
Okay,
no, definitely. I like that. I have to write that down. I like that. I like that. That's actually something that I've been trying to do this year specifically, is like show up as the woman that I'm aiming to be. Like the person that I want to meet at the end of this year. I have to start being her now. You have to do that. Yeah. And that's just with any avenue in life.
Yeah,
you have to.
Right.
Yeah. Because you're not gonna. It's a practice. It's a practice. It's a constant practice. You have to practice being that person before you actually become them, right?
Exactly.
So, yes. I like that. You said be, do, have.
Yep, be, do, have.
I like that.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, me neither. I never heard it put that way before. I like that.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot being in business, and in the coaching realm specifically. There's a lot of everyone wants the tactics and the strategy, which is awesome because I want that too. But the mindset part, the woo-woo part, not so much because you were saying spirituality, not so much that, but like the intrinsic side, like the inner value of oneself, that type of thing is what I've kind of been really on a, I guess, journey, if you will, to increase into. That's how the confidence is being built, like little by little.
Yeah.
Okay. You have anything else you want to talk about? We'll wrap it up.
No, I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I guess what I want to end with is, some advice and tips for navigating your career throughout your 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's such a, I don't know. I feel like career is like, obviously it's a really big part of our lives, right? But it's also something that's really hard to figure out. It's like one of the hardest, at least for me, it's like been like one of the hardest things to figure out.
Because you want to have some kind of passion for what you're doing.
Yeah,
because you're spending literally 8 hours a day, like a lot of your life working.
Yeah. What is it? Your specific question with that?
Just advice.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Yeah, just advice for people trying to figure out their career, in their 20s after college or even just after high school. I think, like, for me, I'll start. It's like what we've talked about before on this podcast is giving 100% to everything you do, because otherwise you won't really know the outcome that could have been from it. Like we've done a lot. Like, we're 27 now, but we've done a lot of things. And I definitely have, like, realized for myself that some things I never gave my 100%. So I don't know what could have ever, like, become of that, or if I would have really enjoyed it, because I've been having I've been on a fence, and I got, one foot on this side and one foot on that side. That's how I describe, like, my career path in my 20s. Which you can't do. You have to, really give your all to every single thing that you do. But yeah, I mean, what other advice would you guys have for kind of navigating your career?
I don't have any advice.
No?
No, I mean, my advice is advice that I don't necessarily think it's good advice.
Say it anyway.
Okay. First of all, I've been enjoying talking to you because you work with the 9 to 5, right? Like, you work with the employee. Both of us have been entrepreneurs, pretty much. I don't have a whole lot of perspective on the employee side, because I've never worked in corporate. I've never worked for government agency. Like, I've just never done any of that. So I've enjoyed this conversation. It gives me a little more perspective. And I don't know. So for me, as someone, this is just what I feel like I've done, and I feel like I've started to figure it out. But I also am one of those people that believes that everyone has their own path in life. So if it takes me a little bit longer, it's okay. But like for me, it's been just like jumping around and like I don't know, going on this path and then going down this path and this path, and eventually figure out the right one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my mindset on it. Like I feel like my advice would just be to not. Like if I was to give my younger self advice or someone who's just graduating college, it would probably be like just be patient and like trust yourself. Like, yeah, and not like just don't like stress about it so much, because it's like I don't know, I just feel like I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe because I feel like I've stressed so much about
it's a
what
process.
we're like what needs to be done, what should I do.
Clarity comes in like in the works, like clarity comes in action. So and you could be upset that maybe you didn't do something at this point in your life. Like maybe I didn't go this route when I was 22 or something, but that's how life is.
Yeah, like there are times where I'm like, damn, like if I had stayed in Florida, because I don't know if me and Kelby went to University of Miami.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there's times where I'm like, if I had stayed in Miami, like I probably would have found a job, like because I was interning with the Florida Fish and Wildlife, like and they really liked me. I'm like, if I had stayed out there, I would have been fine by now. Like there's times where I think like that, and I'm like, no, stop thinking like that. Like you're on a path. Like you can't see the path. It's okay. You have to trust that there's something bigger ahead of you. So I don't know. I hope someone could decipher some advice within that. I don't have like a statement for advice.
Well, the best way to describe it is like life is it's a journey. If you're on this path, you cannot think back to if I would have done this differently, because there's just certain triggers that guide you a certain way. There's certain people along the path that you meet that guide you a certain way. So there's really no even telling that.
I know. Yeah. Anyways, what is your advice?
I think everyone's different, and I'll tell you guys a really quick story because I know you're trying to wrap up. When I was in college, I for some reason, I swear, like when I was younger, I used to watch all these like these shows with like these summer camps, right? And I never got the chance to go to sleepaway camp, like just go for the summer, right? And so when I got older, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a camp counselor. I don't know why I decided to do that. But anyway, so I made up my mind and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for the summer to go to a sleepaway camp as a counselor, as a college student. I was like, I'm going to make a little money. I'm going to get to go somewhere for the summer. Cool. I didn't end up getting a job at a sleepaway camp. I ended up getting a job at a day camp. And that small difference for day camp versus going away, huge difference. I found that it was fun, but like those young of children is not my path. I worked with 8-year-old boys and 13-year-old girls because I did it for 2 summers, and I said, this is not for me, right?
That's rough.
I enjoyed it. I liked being outside for the summer. I got in shape because I had to run after the kids, but I was just like, I did all of that, like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this, for me to do it and find out that I didn't really want to do it. But it was a good experience. And that's kind of how you have to look at your career. Like you kind of have an idea of what you want to do. Go do it. Figure out if you like it. And then if you don't, move on. Especially in your 20s, you don't have to. Gone are the days where you have to sit in the same place for 25 years, right?
Yeah.
You get your experience. You get your 2 years, whatever. 2, 1. I don't want to put a number on it because someone's going to be like, she said 2. You get your experience. If you like it, keep going. If you don't, move. And to your point, you were saying like what would have been. You can't really, you don't know. So you only know what is. And so you just have to keep going and keep trying different things. And if you find something you like, I found coaching, right? And I'm going to keep sticking with it until I just don't like it anymore. And then because I have options, right? Because I'm not a survive mode, I have options. I can just be like, meh, and go do something else. But you have to get, again, out of that survive mode and into that thrive mode in order for you to have all of these options. So career is just about options.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anything else? All right. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Let me take some of my tea.
Oh, I would like to. I just wanted to let your viewers know about the free resource that I was going to give them.
Oh, yeah.
It is it's called Pivot with Purpose, and it's a 90-minute masterclass, and it kind of goes through what we talked about today, and it actually comes with a workbook. It'll help you figure out your transferable skills and then how to put those skills into your desired industry. So that's a 90-minute masterclass that I have for you guys.
Nice. Okay, and we'll put a link to it down below, also in the description box and in the show notes. We'll definitely put a link. And we'll put a link also to your website, your Instagram, all of your information, so they can find you.
Yes, thank you so much. I like this. This is good.
Thank you. Have fun.
Yes, and I hope for whoever's listening that you've gotten something out of this, that you found it relatable, or that it's kind of benefited you in some way. So yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, you guys. If you guys enjoyed something in this episode, please don't forget to leave a rating on Spotify. There's a little star icon on there, and you just leave 5-star, right? And then leave us a review on Apple Podcast, and reach out to us in Instagram DMs or email us. We would love to hear from you guys, some feedback, or even like episode topics or whatever you want us to talk about. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. I hope you guys tune in for another episode in the future. And don't forget to stay prosperous, purposeful, and most of all, you guys stay passionate.
See you guys next time. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it.